Welcome to the lectures on topics in SQL. I am Hepzibah, contract lecturer in the Polytechnic College. In today's lecture, we will learn about ER diagrams in SQL. What are these ER diagrams? ER diagram is the full form of ER diagram is entity relationship diagram. It is one of the models in data models, and this entity relationship model describes the structure of a database with the help of diagram. With the help of diagrams, it will describe the structure of the database. That's why we call it as entity relationship diagram. And in an ER model is a design or a blueprint of a database. We can say it as a design or a blueprint of a database that can be later implemented as database. The main components of ER model are entity set and relationship set. These are the main models. The entity relationship diagram is a visual representation of a conceptual database design that it captures the data requirements of the system or application. Okay, so this entity relationship diagram shows the relationship among the entity sets. And this entity set is nothing but it is a group of similar entities, and these entities can have attributes. It is a group of similar entities like a class. We can say it as a class, and these entities can have attributes. The properties, okay, of those classes are nothing but attributes. In terms of DBMS, an entity is a table. Okay, in DBMS terms, this entity is a table, or attribute of a table is in database. Okay, so by showing relationship among tables and their attributes, this is a relationship among attributes and the entities. Okay, so let's see a example diagram. Okay, ER diagram shows the complete logical structure of a database. It will show a complete logical structure. With the help of this entity relationship diagram, we can design the database. Okay, so that is the reason why it is called a blueprint of a database. We can design how a database can be, how the structure should be, what are columns we can have, we must have. All these things will be clearly mentioned in this entity relationship diagram, so that the designer will be the database administrator or the database designer can easily design the structure for a database and can assign the values or can sort the raw data into this structure. Okay. That's the reason why we say it as a blueprint of a database. So let's have a look at a simple diagram for ER diagram. Simple diagram. See, in this ER diagram, simple ER diagram, this is just a simple ER diagram. In this ER diagram, we have, let me take a pen, we have two entities called student and college. Okay, the student and college are in a relationship, and their relationship. Okay, this is relationship. And the student, we have two entities, student and college. These entities, entity is represented in a rectangular shape, rectangle. Okay, and the relation is represented in diamond or rhombus, we can say. We will learn about these shapes in next slides. This lecture will include all the data or all the information about the requirements of ER diagram. So coming to this example, the student, college and their relationship. Okay, generally in a college, generally a student, what would be the relationship between a student and a college? A student studies in a college. right? The student will study in a particular college, and this is many students will study in one college, so it is many to one relationship. But this many one student cannot join many colleges, okay? He cannot study in many colleges at the same time. He cannot study in multiple colleges at same time. So student entity, this is a many to one relationship. So we'll talk about this relationship, this entity, and these attributes. Here student is an entity. For this entity we have attributes also: student ID, student name, student address. These are the attributes of student entity. Like for every student there will be a student a PIN number or a student ID. We call it as a student ID, or a hall ticket number, or admission number. Okay, for every student there is a name, student name, and in college we'll give the address also. There will be the address. Similarly, for every college entity also has attributes as such as student has. Okay, so for every college there will be a college ID and a so and so college name. So without these things no college is identified. Let's come back to the so here are the there are some geometric shapes in this ER diagram. Okay, we will learn about these geometrical shapes in ER diagram. So this is a simple ER diagram wherein it is showing the relationship between a student and a college. Okay, so like this we can have a table. We can have a table called student table. Sorry. Okay, so here as I told you, as we have discussed earlier, we have seen that this with the help of this diagram, with the help of entity relationship diagram, it's easy to draw a database. It's easy to design a database. We have seen that every entity will become a table. So let's see how we can write a table for this. Okay, so here we have a entity called student. Sorry, I'll increase the font. Okay, student, and we have college. Okay, so these two are the entities we have seen. Okay, these two entities will become the name of the tables. Okay, name of the tables, and the student table will have columns as such of their what is it? Column names, that is attributes: student ID, student ID, and in college we have college ID. Okay. Similarly, one more is student name. Student name. For college we have college name, and also for student we have student address. These are the fields we can have in a table. So other than these fields, we can have many other fields also based on the requirement, based on the based on our diagram, how the ER diagram is representing, what the ER diagram is representing too. Okay, so with the help of entity relationship diagram, it is easy for the designer, for a database administrator to create tables, so that he don't have to look out for these column names specifically, what could be, what can be. He need not think at all. Okay, we can grab the information directly from the entity relationship diagram. That's why we say that it is a blueprint. So these are the this is a student table and college table. In that we have columns of fields called student ID, student name and student address, and in college table we have fields like college ID and college name. These are the fields provided in the table. From this ER diagram, since this is a simple ER diagram, we have only two tables. Okay, for many other diagrams, later we will see different examples using these ER diagrams and converting those ER diagrams to table also. Okay, let's learn the geometrical, but before that, here we can see different shapes, geometrical shapes, and their meaning in ER diagram is little different. Okay, so let's look at these geometrical shapes. So in the diagram we have two entities, as which I have explained you, two entities, student and college, and this relationship. Okay, we have studied this. So the geometrical shapes are rectangle, it is used for to represent entity sets. Ellipse, it is used to represent attributes. Diamonds will show the relationship set. Lines will help in linking the entity set and the relationship set with attributes also. Double ellipse will show multi-valued attributes. Dashed ellipse will will understand in derived attributes. Double rectangles will tell that it is a weak entity set, and double lines will tell that the total participation of an entity in the relationship set. You might be not understanding what these in spite of telling that what does they mean, what is this multi-valued attribute, derived attribute, weak entity set, relationships, what I am talking about. So let's go in deep. What is this rectangle relationship set? Okay, don't worry, we will learn clearly about these shapes and how to link them. Okay, so first of all we'll learn about entity. What is an entity? Okay, let's see these components once again. So but before we learn entity, yes, entity is a component in ER diagram. In every ER diagram we have three components. Okay, it has three components: entity, attribute and relationship. These are the three different three important components present in a ER diagram. Okay, so again in entity we have weak entity, and in attributes we have key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued and derived. Earlier we have seen these things. Here we have seen multi-valued attribute, derived attribute for double dashed, dashed and double ellipse, like that something. Okay, and relationships also we have four different types: one to one, many to many, one to many, many to one and many to many. These are the components of ER diagram. Take down this diagram. Okay, so now So as we have seen, the components, important main components of ER diagram are entity, attribute and relation. Again, this entity has weak entity and attribute has 4 types and relationship has 4 types. One more entity is there, right? So let's talk about entity and entity set. What is an entity? Okay. An entity is an object or component of data. It's just an object or a component of data. An entity is represented as rectangle in ER diagram. Okay. See, look here. If you are looking here, this is an entity. Okay. A car is an entity. A student is an entity. Okay. How can a car and a student? A car can be an entity, a student can be an entity. Okay, here in entity name, we can write either car or student. Okay, we can write car can be entity and student can be entity. So, this is an entity. So, what is an entity set? An entity set is a group of similar kind of entities. It may contain entities with attributes sharing similar values. So what will be the entity set will become which has similar values. Okay, which can contain which are having similar values. A group of similar kind of entities will become an entity set. Here in car, a student is a similar kind of things, like we have a place, name. For car also we have name, place, color, object, all these things. They share the same type of entities, attributes, similar type of attributes they are sharing, so they become the entity set. Okay, so here for student entity set, student will have a person. So all these things, a person can be an entity, a place can be an entity, an object can be an entity, an event or a concept can be an entity, about which data is to be mentioned. About all these things we will mention some data. A person will have his name, ID, address, or even a place will have location, ID, some address, something. Object, even for object will have a color, some all these things are descriptions. We can say the descriptive things, descriptives of a particular, about that particular name. Okay, so for all these things, with the help of all those descriptives, we can identify what kind of item is it. So that all this description part will make so we can say that it is an entity set. All the entity set will have some kind of descriptions. Okay, that will become a descriptive set. Similar kind of values will be there in an entity set. So here a car is an entity and a student is an entity, a place will become an entity, an event will become an entity. Okay, now you must be understanding what an entity is. So let's look at an example. Look at this example. In the above ER diagram, we have two entities, student and college, like previous we have. So these two have many to one relationship. Okay, here I am not talking about relationship, but this is an entity and this is an entity. Previously we have seen car as an entity and student. Okay, so what would be the relation between a college and a student? Student studies in this college. Okay, suppose if it is a car and a student, then student and car. If suppose these two are the entities, then what could be the relation between a student and a car? Okay, a student drives the car, isn't it? Drives. Okay, he drives the car. This will become an entity relationship. okay, between two different entities. Student is an entity and a car is an entity, and the relation between those two is student drives the car. Like that, we have an example of a student, and like so we can have n number of entities. Based on the requirement, we will create the entities. Okay, now let's look at the other thing. In this entities, an entity that cannot be uniquely identified by its own attributes and relies on the relationship with other entity is called a weak entity. Okay, a weak entity is represented by double rectangle. Sorry, I forgot to draw the diagram. So weak entity is represented by double rectangle, and here I will show you the weak entity. This type of entity is called weak entity. Okay, this double rectangle, which have a double rectangle, this kind of entity is called weak entity. Entity. Okay, so what could be the weak entity? For example, let's take an example of let's take an example of let's take an example of a bank account. Okay, this will be the weak, this is a weak entity, and bank account and bank. Sorry, I put bank account here. Bank account and bank. Okay, so in this the account cannot be uniquely identified. Here bank account cannot be uniquely identified, but without knowing the bank to which the account belongs. Without knowing the bank, we cannot identify the bank account. Simply giving some particular number, some 2020105100, this is a bank account. Please credit this amount into the account number something 2020101016, like that. So then there they cannot identify that number because it is linked to bank. Without the name of the bank, simply bank account doesn't work out. So what they'll ask you, what is the name of the bank, in which bank I have to credit. Then then they will ask you the name of the bank. So we have to tell the name of the bank. So with the help of the bank's name only, the bank account will be identified. So without the bank name, bank account doesn't work out. Even if you give account number, it will not, they cannot credit the amount into that account because you are not giving the name of the bank. Until and unless the name of the bank is known, it is not possible to credit the amount. So now the bank account is depending on the entity bank. So here it is depending on the entity called bank. That is why this bank account is a weak entity. Though it is an entity, it is a weak entity because it is depending on bank. Without the name of the bank, without linking with the name of the bank, it is not represented, it is not being identified. Okay, we cannot identify the name of the bank. We cannot credit the name there. So this is the link between a weak entity. This is a weak entity. So here bank account is a weak entity, whereas bank is an entity set. Just simply going to bank and giving the account number is not possible to credit the amount into the bank until and unless bank name is mentioned. So bank account is completely depending on the bank name of the bank. So bank account is a weak entity, and weak entity is represented in this format. Okay, in this double rectangle. It is represented in a double rectangle. Now let's move to attribute. Okay, an attribute describes the property of an entity. It describes the properties, as we have seen earlier in student ID, student name, and student address are the attributes. So they are the properties belong to the student. An attribute is represented in oval shape or ellipse. Okay, it is represented either in the shape of ellipse, we call it as an ellipse, or an oval. See here, these are the attributes. Okay, these are the attributes here. Type, account, transaction name, these are the attributes. For example, transaction, let's take transaction as an entity. Here even double rectangle is there. Transaction is also a weak entity. Okay, so this transaction is an entity, and for this transaction example we have attributes called type, amount, and transaction number. And so we can have many more attributes also, but specified attributes, these are the specified attributes here. Now let's look at the example. These attributes are also classified into 4 different types. We have seen earlier some in the shapes, geometrical shapes in the previous slide. You have observed that a multi-valued, derived attribute, multi-valued attribute, composite attribute, like that. So these attributes are of different types. Sometimes these attributes are of like dummy attributes will be there. They are the strong entities, strong attributes will be there, like that. Attribute which have different values, many values, like example phone numbers. Phone numbers, a person can have 2 different phone numbers. Okay, similarly we will learn about these attributes more clearly, but as such now attributes are divided into 4 types: key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute, and derived attribute. Okay, here let's take an example of and it is represented in an oval shape. Here oval shape, take a look at this diagram. Here oval shape. For car and Jack, okay, car is an entity and Jack, student, is an entity. And what would be the property character of this entity? Color. Okay, color, blue car. Okay, color of the car is entity. Name of the student, name of the student, entity. Okay, Jack is an entity, blue car is an entity if it becomes a blue car. Attribute name, attributes. We have color and here name. These are the attributes we can possess for this entities car and student. So now let's take a look at key attribute. The first attribute is key attribute in the types of attribute. Key attribute, a key attribute can uniquely identify an entity from an entity set. From an entity set, with the help of this key attribute, we can identify this entity set very easily. Okay, and we can retrieve the information also with the help of this key attribute. This key attribute sometimes in later vision we call it as a primary key. Okay, the main important key, primary key. So it is a key attribute. For example, student roll number can uniquely identify a student from a set of students. So with the help of student roll number, we can identify student easily. Like for example, if we have student pin number 18609 CM025, so who is that 025? With the help of that pin number, that particular name, age and address will be displayed. Or if we call in the class some 25 pin number, if we call that roll number 18069 CM 025, then that particular person will stand up and will ask yes ma'am. Or else if we call up for a particular student from pin number, they are easily identified with the help of this key attribute. Okay, and it is a unique number, and that 25 will not be possessed to any other student. Okay, that is a unique number given to every student. Every student will have a uniquely identifying number, so that they can be retrieved easily, they can be called out easily and identified easily. So the key attribute is represented by oval, same as other attributes also. However, but there is a special thing, is the text of the key attribute is underlined. Okay, the text of the key attribute is underlined. Here if you observe, the text is been underlined. No other attribute has that underlined. See, name is not underlined, age is not underlined, address is not underlined. Only the name, roll number is underlined, because name Tina means n number of Tinas will be there. Age some 22 means many will have 22, almost in the class, so and so class will have same kind of age. Okay, age group, same kind of age group students will be there. Address from, suppose from Medak, some 4 or 5 people will be there from Medak. Similarly, but roll number, if you are taking roll number, only one person will be there with that particular roll number. So that's why we call it as a uniquely identified number. We are keeping uniquely identifying number as a key attribute. With the help of this key attribute, we can easily identify the student, easily retrieve the information. Okay, and this key attribute is represented with the text should be underlined, the same as oval, but inside the text, in the oval, whatever we are writing, the text must be underlined. Okay, with this we can identify key attribute. Next, let's see composite attribute. This composite attribute, and the attribute that is a combination of other attributes is known as composite attribute. Like for example, we have earlier we have seen for a student roll number, pin number, age. See, for here we have key attribute roll number. Okay, and also here we have age and address. But this age is not further divided into different attributes. Roll number is also not further divided, but address can be further divided. Address means we have, in address we have pin code, state, country, district, street, house number, all these things will come under address only. So in address we have different things. When a particular attribute which can be further divided is called a composite attribute. So here an attribute that is a combination, this attribute address is a combination of other attributes, right? So address is a combination of country, state, pin, house number, street, colony, all these things. Okay, it's a combination of other attributes. So it's a combination of other attributes. Address is a combination of other attributes. So when a particular attribute has many attributes. In that attribute, when it can be further divided into different attributes, that kind of attribute is called composite attribute. For example, in student entity, here we can see student entity, the student address is a composite attribute, as an address is composed of other attributes such as pin code, state and country. Next, let's see multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute. An attribute that can hold multiple values is known as multi-valued attribute. In one attribute, we'll have more than one value. Suppose let's take pin number. Okay, that student cannot have two pin numbers, two roll numbers. For example, we can take, if we are taking name, student will have a name at home and also at in college is different, but date of birth cannot have two date of births, cannot have two student IDs, cannot have two ages. Okay, if he has wrongly written, then there will be two ages, but phone number, contact number can have two contact numbers. Address also can have two, permanent address and temporary address. Okay, phone number, contact number also we can have two. Okay, so these things, they have multiple values. The same thing, phone number, same attribute, but it has multiple values for that. So the attribute which possesses multiple values is known as multi-valued attribute. Let me rub this off. So this is a multi-valued attributes. And this multi-valued attributes, we represent it with double ovals in ER diagram. We'll represent it with double ovals. Look at this example here. Here we can see double ovals. This is the double ovals where it is representing the multi-valued attribute. For example, a person can have more than one phone numbers. So the phone number attribute is a multi-valued. Phone number attribute is a multi-valued attribute. And let's go to derived attribute. Let's look at derived attribute. Derived attribute A derived attribute is one whose value is dynamic and derived from another attribute. The value is derived from another attribute. Okay, that means, for example, person's age is a derived attribute here. In this example here, person's age is a derived attribute because it changes over time and can be derived from another attribute. Date of birth. With the help of date of birth, the age is derived. Okay, based on the date of birth, the age will be changing every time. This attribute is depending on date of birth attribute. So we call it as a derived attribute. Earlier we have seen the entity which is depending on other entity. When entity is depending on other entity, we are calling it as weak entity. Okay, here when attribute is depending on other attribute, we are calling it as derived attribute, not a weak attribute. It's a derived attribute, and we represent, and it is represented with dashed oval. Okay, here dashed oval. This is a derived attribute which is depending, which will get the information from date of birth. Date of birth, and it is been and it will change, and it changes over time. Can and is derived from another attribute called date of birth. Okay. So, okay, now let's come to the relationships. We'll learn these relationships in next class. I'll explain these relationships in next class.